What's crapping in Fun Seekers? There must be something strange going on with the economy, because like every car I've looked at 5 or 6, 7 years ago and wanted to buy and begged to buy, all those people called me within a 2 week period, said, okay, we're ready to sell. Here I am with yet another square body. It's my fifth one. I knew of this truck years and years ago, and it's got a little story behind it. The guy that owned this truck and drove it and loved it was a barber here in Bradenton for decades. I kind of remember the guy, old tiny barber shop years ago when I was just a little kid. This was his truck, and now it's mine. But there's something about this that makes it sweeter than a Danish wedding cookie. I love Danish wedding cookies, by the way. I'm just dying to get this thing running too. I can't stand the excitement anymore. I can't contain myself. My name's Jason, and this is Grease Billy Garage. Come on. There we go. Come on, baby. So I'm the proud owner of that narrow body dually truck as well. That just recently happened too. This Fox body, Rots body Mustang has been sitting outside with the top down for a couple of weeks. And you get in this thing and turn the key and it fires right up. And it's like the coolest thing in the whole world. I wish I had time to do something really cool with it, like, I don't know, take it on power tour or something, but I don't have time for all that. What we got here is a short bed, 2-wheel drive, square body truck. And these were like, if you hear all those kids screaming in the background, one of them is my grandson, and he sounds like he's in my golf cart. Sounds like he's on his way to getting himself in trouble with it too. So this is a 1985 2-wheel drive, short bed, 6-foot bed, square body, Chevy pickup. And I saw this truck originally when I went to work on their air conditioner several years ago. But I knew the guy from years and years ago when I was just a little kid. And this thing sat under a tree for the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, I think. And sadly, he's no longer with us. And they finally called me and said, we're ready to let this thing go. So we're going to walk around this thing and size it up. I didn't have a lot of time. I had to kind of shotgun it out of there with a wrecker. Best thing about this truck is it has 73,000 original miles. And by the way, that's my GMC. I had to put it over here temporarily. It's been flipping, flopping around between storage places. So let's take a peek around this thing and see what we're looking at here. It's got a bed liner. It's full of leaves. I think underneath here, though, the bed's actually in pretty good shape. Nice, well, used to be nice chrome rear step bumper and an aftermarket hitch. This is these trucks were used back in the 80s by, you usually see these trucks like in Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama. There was never a lot of short beds in Florida that I remember. Hold that thought. Okay, well, the tailgate won't open. There's a little sound. I think the bed's actually pretty good in this truck. Tailgate sucks. Tires are good. It's got all the caps and trim rings. I've already kind of looked underneath it at the lady's house. Got some dual exhaust that look pretty new. Every square body that I ever get never has a spare tire. The doors have been replaced, and I don't really know why he did that. His family says it had a bunch of dents in the original doors, so some local guy in town was a square body guy and had a couple of doors, so they just swapped them. Missing our Silverado trim. Windshield looks okay, but there's another issue with square bodies, the infamous rotted top. But I don't think it's too bad. It's mostly isolated into the top. paint looks like crap right now. This door's been replaced as well, and he supposedly, oh, I see what he did here. He misjudged a mango tree limb and busted out these windows and dented the door. You can see the door was off a teal colored one, or green, I guess. Fortunately, I have lots of parts around here. It was black and silver two-tone with charcoal gray interior. We got tilt wheel, cruise control, automatic, air conditioning, 305 V8, I believe, and roll down windows and electric door locks. What they said was original. I thought maybe they came with the doors, but they said no, it was like that when we bought it. Rotted rocker, pretty typical for a square. Door panel don't look too bad. Neither does that one. Oh, here's a dash pad cover. Probably keep that. We have these little bugs in Florida called no-see-ums, and they're like microscopic flying alligators. They make you crazy. Here's where somebody started to work on things. Got all the screws and the door scutcheon. Here's our SPID, Service Parts Identification, I think that stands for. There's no signs of power windows or locks on here. I kind of thought all Silverados had that. I see the tilt steering listed on there. It's got a 273 rear axle. Auxiliary fuel tank. That's cool. Quartz electric clock. Sliding rear window from the factory. Rally wheels. Chrome rear step bumper. Apparently that was factory. Charcoal custom vinyl. See, I thought all Silverados had cloth seats and power locks and windows. Learn something every day. Got a spark plug. What is this, an auto light? Yeah. I don't know what that is, and that's a piece of glass from the door. Factory radio hole has been hacked open, it looks like. That's unfortunate. Okay. It's kind of hard to see the lighting here, but this is a 6-digit odometer, and it does say 73,000. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the original mileage, although the title is exempted. And there's our clock right there. And these bugs are absolutely killing me. Okay. There it is. Little 305. They told me the air conditioning's been disconnected because a bit of a myth about air conditioning used to be it would rob a bunch of horsepower from you. Not so much during this time period, but before, when you had those great big Frigidaire or York compressors, like Chrysler's had them, and the GM Frigidaire ones, the axial compressors that were real deep, those took quite a bit of horsepower away, but these don't. And new cars is almost non-existent, in my opinion. Plus, if you drive with the windows down, you kind of lose what you gain by turning the air conditioning off. All right, my grandson has returned with my Tesla. Got the original jack in place. All the vacuum stuff and the emissions control vacuum lines are all hooked up real good, it looks like. Where there's no air cleaner wing nut and no stud sticking through. Oh, it still has all the air pump emission stuff hooked up and everything. Wow. That looks like the dipstick right there. Problem is, I'm short and fat and I can't reach it. It's dirty, but it's full. Needs to be changed, but not till it's running. It even smells good. I'm one of those weirdos that likes the smell of used motor oil, believe it or not. And gasoline. Now on the SPID sticker, this has a 3-speed automatic, which I'm going to assume is a turbo 350. But if memory serves me, they had a version with a lockup torque converter or something. This might be from that era. I'm not exactly sure. Transmission fluid looks absolutely smoked. And it smells it too. Whew. Not going to mess with the brake master cylinder because those plastic master cylinder reservoirs are a pain sometimes. And that's what the radiator is going to look like inside. It's as dry as a popcorn fart too. Man, this thing may have been sitting a lot longer than I thought. But, well, the battery date's 10 of 21. Huh, I wonder if that would take a charge. No, it's a value craft. It's never going to charge probably. The heater core is disconnected too, so it probably leaks. Good thing this is a short bed, I'll tell you. Okay, set you there, like that. Stay. I haven't always been a GM fan, but I can tell you, my hopes of remaining one wane quickly with side post batteries. Another thing in Florida that we have that you guys up north don't really deal with is called citrus rats. And sometimes they can be a problem too. They're called citrus rats, but they're about the size of a small chihuahua. I'm not going to worry too much about like spinning it over or any of that crap. I think it's going to be okay. But I am going to exercise more care than I usually do because I know that the mileage is likely original on this thing. And I don't want to, you know, waylay a bunch of brake cleaner down the carburetor. So I bought some of that engineered fuel. It's got a teeny bit of oil in it. I think what I'll do first is go see if we have any power at all. So far we don't. Uh-oh. Oh, there is lights. They're just really sucky. Maybe I'll go ahead and turn it over several times to kind of put a little oil pressure through it, for that crappy oil it's got. And hopefully it won't start. Hopefully the gas in the tank is okay. There's no switch selector tank switch in there, so I don't know what tank's got actual use. And here's the part where we have total equipment failure again, because I thought my microphone was working the entire time I was doing this. I'm just turning this thing over and trying to build oil pressure, and there I am trying the lights again, of course, because I'm just determined to get lights working, and you'll see that later here in this segment. The more I turn it over, the faster you can hear the engine spinning. Is starting to circulate that oil back through there and get this thing ready to rock. I heard it fire on that old gas, which really surprised me. squeaky noise is a vacuum leak from one of the HVAC vacuum control motors for one of the dampers behind the dash. So I know I've got vacuum leaks, and that's why I won't idle. You can't really see it in the video here, but there's a huge plume of smoke bellowing out from under the hood there around the engine. Well, it's debris from the trees and stuff. If you don't do what I did, be a little bit more responsible and clear that stuff off of there, because it gets down in the exhaust manifolds and starts wanting to catch on fire for you. So I'm going to pack it in for tonight before the bugs carry me away. Takes a whole lot of them to do that, by the way. I'm happy though it started. It's great. I wanted to actually see the headlights too. This is where I become obsessed with making the headlights work. And there's a trick for all these old cars that have the old stem pull-out headlight switch. This works almost every single time. All right, we got 0 headlights. I'll show you a trick for that too on these old GMs. So you basically just grab the headlight switch by the knob and violently jerk it in and out as fast as you possibly can, a gazillion times, while simultaneously operating the dimmer switch, or the high beam, low beam switch. In this case, it's on a multi-function switch on the steering column. And you see that flicker there that kind of cleans the contacts from the thing sitting. There's lots of things you can do. There we go. We got high beams. There's lots of things you can do to cars that have been sitting under a tree for a long time to solve lots of electrical problems right out of the gate. I learned that the hard way on my 87 Buick Regal Grand National. And in the future, in this video, I will get to that and show you how to handle those kinds of issues and kind of rejuvenate the whole electrical system. Pretty cheap and easy. It's high, so probably gonna have to put a headlight switch in it at a bare minimum, or a dimmer switch, multi-function switch in this case. The alternative to replacing the headlight and or dimmer switch in this case is, here in Florida, everybody just drives around with their high beams on all the time anyway, so I kind of fit right in just leaving it alone. It's the next morning, and this is about the time I've determined that I'm going to throw those Amazon microphones that I bought as far into the garbage as I possibly can, because they are some kind of junk. What I'm doing here is putting in fresh gas and seafoam. However, this gas tank on this side has a locking gas cap that I didn't want to fool with. So I ended up, after fiddling with it for a while, I ended up just going over and putting it in the other tank and hoping that that was the correct tank. Florida today too, it sucks. All right, I think I'll go ahead and just jam on it and see if it'll run now, and try to get it into my garage before the debris in the engine catches on fire. Well, my piece of junk phone camera thingy shut off because it got too hot. Because God forbid, sit for 30 seconds in the sunlight. I got this thing to idle. Caught the exhaust manifold on fire again. Got no transmission function at all. We got no drive like my friend Larry on the golf course. So I'm just going to pour in a couple of quarts of this and see if that changes anything. I have a feeling that maybe this thing may have had a transmission modulator valve that was leaking, and this thing was burning transmission fluid, sucking it right out of the transmission. That happens sometimes. Wide angle action here. Now that seafoam and the fresh gas seem to have helped it run. At least I thought it did. Oh boy, you're gonna give me a fit, aren't you? There it goes. Well, I had it idling earlier. Oh, the gas gauge is working. It says a quarter of a tank now. See, what happens is by the time the exhaust manifold starts to catch on fire, it starts idling. So it's obviously a choke issue or something. Now we got to get it to the garage before it catches on fire. Okay. Come on. Don't hit your Toyota. Probably ought to put the hood down, eh? And I can't get the seat back all the way either, which is really inconvenient because I'm so fluffy. We ought to turn the camera too. We'll turn it towards the official Grease Belly garage in all of its glory. All right, contact. Well, the power steering works. Oh. I had it idling earlier, I swear. The brakes work good though. Hopefully I'm not running over my golf cart charger. We got some carburetor issues for sure. Get this value crap battery either. It's only a little over 3 years and 3 months old, so I might try to revive it. Beds fit better in the garage. By the way, for those that are curious, which is probably none of you, I'm still waiting for parts for that dreaded 380 SL. That's been a lot of fun getting all that stuff together. In the midst of all this fun, I can hear my neighbor, John. He's always screaming at his dog over there. I can hear his condenser howling pretty loud when he starts, air conditioning starts. So I guess I better go over there this week and look at it for him. Oh, that wasn't as empty as I thought. I'm pretty sure the problem with this truck right now is the old gas in the carburetor and a possible vacuum leak. So you have options with this. You can go aftermarket, which a lot of guys do. Or you can just get a carburetor kit for this and just redo it. They're not that bad, I don't think. I don't want to go too crazy on it until I get all the leaves and stuff out of there. So I'll put the air cleaner back together. Nothing stands out too much so far. I don't see any major vacuum leaks. Hear my compressor? Dying a slow death. I don't know if my compressor needs a new capacitor or if the pump is worn out. I already changed the oil in it. Almost sounds like it's got a bad cap off, but seems like the needle is getting stuck, or the float's getting stuck, or whatever. So I'm going to do what every other YouTuber does, and I'm going to beat the crap out of the carburetor. So you just get the heaviest tool within reach, and then the fuel fitting goes into the side of the carburetor. It's going to tap it everywhere. Hope that jars whatever's holding the float loose. Stick another tool down in that throttle plate, hold it open like that. Maybe it'll stay running long enough to smack it. That's how I have my lug wrench set up to hold the gas pedal down, and you can just scooch it a little bit closer, and it seems to hold pretty good. All my gauges are working. We got some kind of voltage, not enough. We got plenty of oil pressure, 30 psi. The temp gauge is coming up, but if I know this guy, there's no thermostat in it, and this quartz clock works. I think every one of these square body quartz clocks I've ever seen seems to still work, which is really cool. So let's see if we can adjust this a little bit further. Our Grease Belly Garage cruise control. Maybe not that much. I'll be alright for seat fall. Hey, obviously, I'm kind of pressed for time today, so I was trying to take as many shortcuts as I could just to get this thing to halfway run. I know I'm not doing this by the book, but it wasn't stored by the book either. We got steam rolling out of the radiator anyway. I think I'm going to order some parts. I know the engine's good, it sounds strong. I'm going to order a carburetor kit, tune-up parts, air filter, fuel filter. Probably try to get as much of the old gas out of the tanks as I can, and just dump fresh gas in there, and start this thing up with a rebuilt carb. I'm gonna check the valve covers. I think they might be leaking. Brakes work fantastic, so that's good. But this is a truck that I kind of would like to keep if I could ever get the seat back far enough and or lose 30 pounds so I could reasonably drive it. These square bodies are tight, even for skinny guys, they're tight. I'm gonna plan on trying to keep this truck to replace my Toyota. The Toyota is, you know, it's a little slow. I could probably make this one just as nice and just as reliable. And I don't care what anybody says, 305s are not bad engines. They're fairly efficient. They're not powerhouses, but they're pretty reliable too. I mean, I've known guys with 305s that went a long time, even the carbureted ones, no problem. I'm just glad it's a short bed, and I'm glad that I know the history and how it was cared for. It's really no surprise to me that this truck started up and ran. I kind of figured it would. I just didn't know to what extent. And it's better than I anticipated, actually. I thought I was going to have to do a lot of work to even get it into a shop, but it's in here now. So it's going to wrap it up for this episode of Grease Belly Garage. I know it's been a while. I've been really busy. But I'm going to jump on this thing, and I've got a really good car coming up next week, too. So I appreciate you guys watching. Leave me a thumbs up if you liked the video. If you didn't like the video, leave me a thumbs up anyway. I'd appreciate it. I've got a house flip coming up on my other channel, which is at the moment called Belly Brigade. We're going to start that this coming week as well. It's getting blistering hot in Florida, so it should be a lot of fun. You can zip over there and check that out. And I appreciate you guys watching, and I will definitely catch you on the flip side.
See you next time.
All right.
Tune in again.
Thanks for watching.
Yep.